welcome to my Zoom room, my live in the moment. Let's be present, right? Today I want to talk about that intuitive part of you that sometimes knows things without knowing how you know it, without any facts. You just have that feeling or that sense that something's going to happen or that bit of information. My name is Amira Hall, and I am a psychic medium. I am a bridge between your painful past and setting an incredible future. When we clear the energies from our past that are keeping our vibe low, it just helps us attract what's in our heart and have the life that we desire. And so today, the other day, I spoke about the 4 styles of intuition that are most common. And one of them is claircognizance. And claircognizance is that sense of knowing. It's a clear feeling of, it's closely tied with clairsentience, which is that center in the solar plexus, that gut feeling that we talk about, or that sense of just feeling something. So there's a fine correlation between claircognizance and clairsentience. But it's claircognizance is that feeling when you just know something and you're absolutely sure that something's going to happen. I remember back 3 years ago when there was something that we call the pandemic, and I just knew with all of my presence that it wasn't what they said it was. And so I just knew there wasn't something to be frightened of. Now, some people had that, other people didn't. They got derailed with information. And why is that? So I drew this little diagram. So there's a saying in ancient Egypt, as above, so below. And what is happening here is we have our higher self, or that aspect to us that is greater than us, that knowing part of ourselves, our soul. And there's a point where that information from God, from your higher self, or that bigger part of who you are, comes into the human body. And I see it as little rings. I see them as what I call creative rings. And they're like transformers that literally step the energy down. And it's almost like they go through this information from our higher self coming into the human form, goes through imagine it like a pinball machine, and it goes through our emotions and our beliefs and our limiting thoughts and senses of, oh, that can't happen, or that will never happen, or that's impossible, or our fears. And that's why it's so important from an energetic level. It's beyond the mind to clear these aspects of what we don't know is there. So this energy coming in from your higher self goes through that pinball machine or through those filters and come into the human form. So what happens is it's the truth of who you are, the amazing, powerful manifester, abundant and creative being that you are, goes through this little filter system right here. And what happens is it creates a very distorted picture, and is what you end up manifesting. So that's how it works. And that's how I see it works. And so there's a lot of benefits when we can trust our claircognizance. When the information coming in is clear, that means we can trust it, right? We can take action on it, even if we don't have facts. And I can tell you a story. It was in 2009. I had a lot of clients that were losing their homes. That's when we had the financial meltdown, right? The economic crisis. And I got this message to sell my home. It ended up that I sold it, or it was a sell with a lease option to buy. And I ended up selling everything I owned within 45 days. I felt like a whirling dervish, a speed demon. And at night I would sit and think, have I lost my mind? Am I going crazy? None of my friends dared to say anything about me, but I was on this mad dash to unload everything. And I had no idea what my next step was. So it was almost like there was a mad push. I just knew I needed to do it. And then for the next 18 months, I kind of sat in limbo. I didn't really know what my next steps were. I was beautifully housed and supported with a dear friend who just put me up for 18 months. And then I had more clarity of my next step, and that's when I started working with a client online, and her life completely transformed. She moved back to Dubai, and she built her thriving business, and her whole life completely turned around. She said to me, Amira, you need to come to Dubai. And that was the story of how I went there. I didn't know what was ahead of me. I knew that one person. I had no connections other than that. And so I was there. Talk about full faith, right? I did go for a 2-week journey first and experienced it, stuck my toes in the water, so to speak. Then when I came home, I just sold what was left and my car, and I didn't have a plan. I had a one-way ticket and a small amount of money in my pocket. And so I went there with, I guess you could say, faith, clarity, knowing that I had all the tools, I had all of the abilities to manifest exactly what I needed. And I share this with a lot of people. I ended up working with many members of the royal family who found me. I didn't go knocking on their doors. I didn't go knocking or begging or pleading. They found me. So having this sense of a strong claircognizance helps us in our intuition, our decision-making ability. That's what it does. It really helps and improves our creativity, because we're more open to inspiration and we can allow those ideas or thoughts to just drop in from nowhere. And in fact, that you'll probably see wildly creative people. That's exactly what they're doing. And we can get solutions to problems that maybe we've been blinded to previously. So it just opens up a space for possibilities that we couldn't have imagined. And as well as having that strong connection to our knowing, we have a deeper awareness of who we are, the truth of who we are. Then when I say that you are an infinite being and you can have whatever you want, yeah, sure, Amira. That's what I get, like an eye roll from my clients. Oh, we want to believe that, but there's something that's stopping us from really accessing that and feeling it. And what goes along with that is enhanced spiritual growth. You have a deeper understanding because you can get the direct information from beyond, and your higher self giving you a clear connection helps you to, it's a gateway to greater wisdom, to greater knowing of what the universe holds in secrecy or hidden from view. And so it's just an incredibly expansive aspect to your intuition that I would say is a more not advanced, but it's a higher access to being in the flow when you are claircognizant and you're tuning in and allowing it and trusting it. I guess what goes along with that is having a high level of faith, because you're just listening to it, knowing that God and your higher self is delivering this information. So without a doubt, you can trust it. So yeah, that's the power of being able to connect and expand your intuition, specifically your claircognizance of all of them, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the clairaudience. This is heightening our multi-sensory self and bringing that online, along with all of this. I think the most important thing that we can activate on a daily basis would be to practice being mindful. And meditation, of course, in all the practices I do and in my life mastery training, what we do is we continually go through a process of clearing out the chakras, because that's your spiritual or energetic anatomy. So when we clear those energetic blocks, as that information comes through in the pinball machine, it comes straight down and the chakras are fired up, and that's how you instantly manifest what you want. So it's fun. It's fun and games when you are online, when your soul software is lined up and your physical being can receive this high level energy, it becomes a life of magic and miracles. So I'm going to leave you with that today to expand into your own meditation. I encourage you to do that. If you're still with me, give this video a thumbs up, please. I really appreciate that. Thank you for joining me today. YouTube loves it when you give them feedback that you're liking it, and they'll show it to way more people. So I appreciate you here, and I appreciate the energy work you're doing to raise your vibes, because you get to have what you want, and we all benefit from that because we're sending ripples into the world. So until I see you tomorrow for the next live, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, shine bright. My name's Amira Hall.